Somewhere in Germany, someone just Googled, how much do I need to retire on 80,000 euros a year? And here's what most of those search results won't tell you. The number you actually need is probably not what you think. Some websites will throw out 2.5 million euros and scare you half to death. Others will lowball it so hard you'd be eating supermarket bread and instant coffee by 78. Today, we're cutting through all of that. By the end of this video, you'll know the real numbers based on the latest 2025 and 2026 data for retiring on 80,000 euros a year in Germany. Let's start with why 80,000 euros even matters. In Germany, the average retiree is nowhere near that level. The median income for people over 65 is roughly 1,990 euros per month, or around 24,000 euros a year. And the average statutory pension is only about 1,100 euro gross per month. So 80,000 euros a year isn't just comfortable in Germany. It's upper middle class retirement. It's the kind of retirement where you're not stressing over heating bills in winter. You're traveling around Europe several times a year. You're eating out regularly, maintaining a nice apartment or home, driving a reliable car, and covering private healthcare extras without constantly checking your bank balance. That lifestyle is possible in Germany, but it comes with a serious price tag. And the price tag depends on three major things: when you retire, whether you're single or part of a couple, and how long your money needs to last. Now let's talk about the German pension system, because this changes the equation completely. Germany's statutory pension system, the gesetzliche Rentenversicherung, still forms the backbone of retirement for most workers. In 2025, the contribution rate sits at 18.6% of gross salary, split between employee and employer. But here's the problem. Germany's pension replacement rate is only around 48 to 53% of average earnings, which is lower than many Western European countries. That means even people who worked full careers often retire on much less income than they expected. So if your target is 80,000 euros per year after retirement, you cannot rely on the state pension alone. Your investments, private pensions, ETFs, company pension plans, and savings will be doing most of the heavy lifting. But here's the thing most people miss. Even though the German state pension won't fully fund an 80,000 euro lifestyle, it still dramatically reduces the amount you personally need to save. Because unlike countries where retirees rely almost entirely on investments, Germany still provides a lifelong monthly pension stream indexed to wage growth. That means your portfolio doesn't have to generate the full 80,000 euros forever. For someone who worked a strong career in Germany, the statutory pension might still provide 20,000 euros to 30,000 euros per year combined for a couple later in retirement. Sometimes more if there are company pensions involved. And that changes the maths a lot. So what's the actual number? Let's break it down. If you're single, retiring at 67, and you want the equivalent of 80,000 euros per year before tax for a 30-year retirement to age 97, you're realistically looking at needing around €1.90 to €2.20 million invested. If you only need your portfolio to last 25 years, that drops closer to 1.7 million euros. And if you retire later or are comfortable spending down more aggressively in your 80s and 90s, you might make it work with roughly 1.5 million euro plus your statutory pension. Now, if you're part of a couple, the numbers improve significantly. Housing costs, utilities, internet, insurance, groceries, all of that gets shared. For a couple retiring at 67, wanting 80,000 euros combined per year, we're generally looking at around €1.40 to €1.70 million combined invested assets, depending on your pension entitlements and withdrawal strategy. These estimates assume long-term investment returns of around 5% annually after inflation and fees, realistic for a diversified ETF-heavy portfolio over decades. And yes, inflation matters. Germany has experienced major inflation shocks in recent years, especially after the energy crisis. Even though inflation cooled compared to the 2022 spike, prices remain structurally higher across housing, food, healthcare, and utilities. At just 3% inflation, 80,000 euro today has the purchasing power of roughly 59,000 euros in 10 years. So when we say you need €1.50 to 2 million euros, those numbers already assume your withdrawals increase over time just to maintain the same lifestyle. Now here's where this gets really interesting. Most Germans are nowhere near these numbers. Many retirees rely almost entirely on the state pension. Others have small company pensions or modest savings accounts. Germany traditionally has lower levels of retail investing compared to countries like Australia or the US, which means if you're aiming for an €80,000 retirement lifestyle, you need to think differently from the average person. So let me walk you through 5 moves that can completely change your trajectory. The first is time. Every extra year you work in Germany does 3 things at once. It gives your investments more time to compound. It shortens the number of retirement years your portfolio must support, and it increases your statutory pension entitlement. Working from 67 to 70 instead of retiring early could easily reduce the amount you need by several €100,000. The second is tax-advantaged investing. Germany doesn't have a superannuation system like Australia, but it does offer private pension structures, company pension plans, known as betriebliche Altersvorsorge, and long-term ETF investing through tax-efficient accounts. And increasingly, younger Germans are supplementing the public pension system with index funds because they know the state pension alone probably won't be enough. The third is housing. This one is massive in Germany. If you retire while still renting in cities like Munich, Hamburg, or Frankfurt, your retirement costs explode. But retirees who own their homes outright dramatically reduce the amount of portfolio income they need every year. Housing is often the difference between needing €1.2 million and needing €2 million. The fourth is part-time work. Germany is actually moving toward encouraging older workers to stay employed longer. Recent pension reform discussions even included tax-free work incentives for retirees over retirement age. And even earning €15,000 to €20,000 a year from consulting, freelancing, or part-time work in your late 60s can massively reduce portfolio drawdowns early in retirement. Those early years matter more than people realize because every euro you don't withdraw continues compounding. And the fifth, the one nobody likes hearing, is spending. If you currently earn €80,000 but spend €78,000, you don't have an income problem. You have a savings problem. Retirement wealth is built in the gap between what comes in and what goes out. And Germany's high taxes and rising living costs make that gap harder to create than many people expect. Now let me say something important. The number itself is not the point. The plan is the point. Some people retire in Germany with €2 million and still feel anxious because they never built a withdrawal strategy. Others retire with €1.2 million, a paid-off home, decent statutory pensions, maybe some company pension income, and they live incredibly well for decades. The difference is almost always planning. Know your number. Know your pension entitlements. Know how inflation affects your future lifestyle. And start acting before retirement is right in front of you. Because the people who never run these numbers are the ones who arrive at 67 shocked by reality. If you're watching this and thinking, I'm behind, that awareness is more valuable than you realize. Most people avoid retirement maths completely. You're already ahead because you're facing it directly. If this video gave you clarity, subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.